The air was buzzing with excitement as students gathered at the school gate, suitcases rolling and backpacks slung over shoulders. The school term had ended, and the long-awaited vacation had finally arrived. For many, this was the highlight of the year: 3 months of freedom, relaxation, and adventure. The school had arranged a bus trip to the city, where the students would catch their respective transport home. Friends hugged, teachers gave last-minute advice, and the driver honked impatiently, signaling for the students to board. Raymond, a reserved but deeply religious student, stood at the side, taking in the excitement. Unlike his classmates, he wasn't overly energetic. His mind was occupied with something deeper, a strange feeling. As the students settled in, Raymond made his way toward the front. Clearing his throat, he spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "Guys, before we leave, let's say a quick prayer for our journey." For a second, silence fell over the bus. Then, laughter erupted. "Raymond, we're going on vacation, not a church retreat," one student joked. "Relax, nothing's going to happen," another added, shaking his head. "Bro, even the driver isn't praying. We're good," a girl giggled. The students continued laughing, making jokes about Raymond's faith. But he didn't argue. He simply bowed his head, clasped his hands together, and whispered a prayer. "Lord, I commit this journey into your hands. Guide us, protect us, and let your will be done." As he said amen, the bus roared to life, and the journey began. The students were in high spirits. Some played loud music, others were cracking jokes, and a few had even started an impromptu karaoke session. The driver, a middle-aged man with a cigarette tucked behind his ear, seemed unfazed by the noise. He had driven students countless times and was used to their energy. For the first 2 hours, the trip was smooth. The highway stretched endlessly before them, the trees swaying lazily in the afternoon breeze. Then, up ahead, something caught Raymond's attention. A long military convoy was moving steadily down the highway. The large green trucks carried soldiers, weapons, and supplies. The students grew impatient. "This is going to slow us down," one groaned. "They're driving so slow," another complained. Overtaking was out of the question. The military convoy followed strict road regulations, maintaining a consistent, disciplined speed. The student bus driver, growing restless, tightened his grip on the wheel. "Once I see an opening, I'll overtake them," he muttered. Raymond felt uneasy. His grip tightened around the armrest. For several kilometers, the convoy remained in front of them. The bus and other vehicles behind it were forced to follow. Then, suddenly, the military convoy slowed down. The first truck signaled and made a sharp turn into a military base. The other trucks followed one by one. The student bus driver, eager to speed up, pressed the accelerator. But at that exact moment, a loud, terrifying honk came from behind. Raymond turned. A massive lorry was approaching at full speed. The driver was honking desperately, but something was wrong. The long lorry behind them had lost control. The students' excitement turned into confusion, then panic. The driver of the student bus slammed the brakes, trying to avoid colliding with the military trucks. But the lorry behind them couldn't stop. The lorry smashed into the back of the bus, crumpling it like paper. The impact sent the vehicle spinning off the road, rolling multiple times before finally coming to a stop. Everything was blurry when Raymond woke up. Sirens blared. People were shouting. He felt pain all over his body. As he tried to move, a strong hand pressed him down. "Stay still, son. You're hurt." Raymond blinked, his vision clearing. His body ached, but he was alive. Then he turned his head and his heart stopped. The bus was destroyed. Glass, metal, and blood covered the wreckage. People were gathered around, some crying, others shaking their heads. And then he realized he was the only one who had survived. Every single one of his classmates had died. Tears streamed down his face as the reality sank in. His friends, the same ones who had laughed at his prayer, were gone. He didn't understand why. Why was he the only one left? Days later, After he had recovered, an investigator told him something that sent chills down his spine. From the way the bus crashed, you must have been thrown out of a window before the final impact. That's the only reason you survived. A window. Raymond thought back to the moment before the crash. He had been seated by the window, but it had been close. So, how had he been thrown out? His mind returned to the only thing he had done differently before the journey began. He had prayed. Raymond never forgot that day. He mourned his classmates. He questioned why he had been spared, and he struggled with survivor's guilt. But one thing was certain. His prayer had been answered.